This is Charles Bickford. By this time, nearly everyone knows what an exploding atomic bomb looks like. We've read about the damage they do. Yet we don't quite grasp what they mean to us. Most of us regard atomic war as something dreadful, which somehow we hope will never come to pass. But many, knowing that we now have our last chance, are asking, what can I, as one individual, do about it? Our story tonight is about a quest for the answer to this question.
Horsemen rode across the land, and their names were
War,
Pestilence,
Famine, Death.
And to these now is added a fifth horseman, the threat of the atom.
The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Fifth Horseman, written and produced by Arnold Marquis. Here is an account of the implications of atomic energy and the problems it poses for mankind. Starring Charles Bickford, this is the last in the series titled Memo to Mankind.
Hear that? That's a metronome. The same kind of instrument that ticked off the seconds before the explosion of the atomic bomb at Bikini. It's ticking right now, this moment, all over the world, day and night. Day and night. Is it ticking off the seconds before atomic bombs start exploding among us? I don't know, but I'm wondering. Last year, I've heard a lot of talk, like this.
If what the scientists say about atomic bombs is true, the thing for me to do is to get out into the country somewhere.
What are you talking about?
Well, if it's only a matter of time till all our cities and our industries are blown...
The whole thing's overrated. Sure, the bomb's a more powerful weapon than we've ever had before. But every new weapon is more powerful than we've ever had before. Discovery of gunpowder didn't mean the end of everything. Neither will atomic energy.
At first, that kind of talk didn't mean anything to me. But after I began to understand what it meant, I began to hear the metronome. I began to hear it after that War Department statement on the explosion of the first bomb in New Mexico.
A revolutionary weapon destined to replace war as we know it or end all wars was set off for the first time a year ago. Its blast signalized man's entrance into a new physical world.
A new physical world.
Success was greater than the scientists dared to think. A small amount of matter was made to release the energy locked up within the atom from the time matter was created. A fabulous achievement, an unheard of power for good or evil, for progress or destruction.
I remembered what happened at Hiroshima.
A whole city was destroyed by one bomb. Everything within a circle of 4 miles in diameter was devastated. All buildings in the area were shattered by the blast and destroyed by fire. And the people injured or killed by the explosion were...
I began to think.
The atomic bomb is a dramatic introduction to a new age, the age of atomic energy. We may be privileged to be alive and to witness the birth of this new era in man's progress, or we may be damned to be witness and victim of self-destruction.
That's what a scientist who had worked on the bomb said. I asked myself, what happens when a new age is born? Does everything change?
Yes, everything changes, even if you don't see it at once.
That's what the scientist said.
We have reached a turning point in human history. From now on, we will live in a world full of explosive forces never dreamt of before. We must adapt ourselves to this world, or our civilization will be destroyed.
You hear the words, but you don't quite grasp what they mean.
Long ago, scientists found that only the animal that can adapt himself to his environment survives. The animal that cannot dies. Atomic energy has created a new environment for man. Will he survive?
Figure it out for yourself. We've got the bomb. We've got the secret. We've got the greatest productive capacity of any nation on Earth. Let others worry. We're in no danger.
We can't keep the secret forever.
Relax.
The scientists say that other nations will develop their own bombs in a few years. Secret or no secret.
Yes, I read that. I also read a statement that it'll take them a generation, if they ever succeed.
But one thing was evident. There was a growing consciousness that something important had happened in the world. A feeling that somehow or other it would change our lives, even if we didn't know in what way. So I started to take notice of what was happening in Washington.
You see this about Attlee coming over here from England and Mackenzie King coming here from Canada to talk with Truman about the bomb?
Yes?
I hope we're not going to be suckers enough to give away the secret.
As the time for the meeting came, there was more and more talk about the secret. And I felt like a lot of other people that as long as we'd developed the bomb and paid the bill, about $2 billion, there was no reason why we should give it away. Then the President and Attlee and Mackenzie King issued a joint statement.
The statesman stressed 3 points. First, the unprecedented destructiveness of the bomb.
I was beginning to realize that part of it.
Second, the absence of any defense against the bomb.
I hoped some defense could be worked out.
Third, the need of establishing international arrangements or institutions to prevent the use of atomic bombs in the future.
Well, I'd heard about international control before, but I thought it was just dreaming by unrealistic people. Now the President and the Prime Minister were saying it. I was shocked.
How do you like that? We developed the bomb, work out the secret, pay the bill. And now they're talking about submitting ourselves to international control. That's preposterous.
Well, if there's no defense against the bomb...
What do we need defense for? We're the only nation on Earth that's got it.
There's no way to keep the secret. Every nation on Earth knows the principle and can make bombs in time.
I was listening with more and more interest to what was being said about the whole problem. Still, it seemed to me that somehow it would be figured out.
Why, sure. During the war, we had to adjust ourselves to many changes. Get along with less gas, with no tires, to find defenses against planes, submarines, magnetic mines. But it all worked out, didn't it?
Then somehow I began to get the feeling that maybe this time it would not work out. Not without a great change in our ways of thinking and living, here and everywhere in the world. After Truman, Attlee, and King came out for some kind of international control, I realized that all nations would soon have atomic energy, secret or no secret. I began to take an active interest in everything that was said and done about atomic energy.
Atomic energy will have many peacetime uses. It will be of great value in medicine and biology. Also, it will be of great value in engineering and in industry.
That's what the scientists said.
But unless we work out some way of controlling it so that it is not used for destructive purposes, we may never have the opportunity to put atomic energy to peacetime uses.
Congress went to work on the matter of atomic control within the United States. And at the same time, Secretary of State Burns and Bevan and Molotov were considering the bomb. In December 1945 in Moscow, the three of them made a recommendation.
It is our recommendation that the United Nations appoint an Atomic Energy Commission to consider control of the use of atomic energy and effective safeguards against its use for destructive purposes.
Naturally, this caused a lot more talk.
It means that the problem is of such importance that the highest assembly of men on Earth is going to try to do something about it.
So the United Nations set up an Atomic Energy Commission representing 12 nations. And Truman appointed Barney Baruch as American representative on this commission. So this commission went to work.
Let me ask you something. You think that if other nations have bombs, we can bind them by agreement not to use them on us in case war breaks out?
No. That's why steps have got to be taken so that no nation has atomic bombs to use against other nations.
My friend, you're just dreaming.
Well, even before the United Nations Commission got working on the problem, A couple of bills were introduced in Congress for control of atomic energy within the United States. And also, at the same time, the State Department named a board of consultants of 5 distinguished Americans to look into the problem.
David E. Lilienthal, chairman of the Tennessee Valley Authority, Chester I. Barnard, president of the New Jersey Telephone Company, Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer of the California Institute of Technology and University of California, Dr. Charles Allen Thomas, vice president and technical director of the Monsanto Chemical Company, and Harry A. Winnie, vice president of the General Electric Company in charge of engineering policy.
I studied the list. Practical men, every one. Not dreamers, but far-seeing men who on their own achievements had proved themselves.
Because of their different backgrounds, the 5 members of the State Department Board of Consultants had, at the outset, differing opinions. For weeks now, they have been visiting the atomic installations at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and at Los Alamos, New Mexico. They have talked with scientists, industrial experts, geologists, with the people who know most about atomic energy. How soon the consultants will be ready to leave.
I watched the papers to see what they'd say.
I'd like to lay you money that they won't be able to agree on any plan.
Why do you say that?
Watch what I tell you. Practical men like those businessmen on the board will blast the plan for international control to bits. It's daydreaming. The businessman's point of view is realistic. What we've developed and paid for, we keep for our own profit.
Well, I waited and watched the papers. Then the State Department report came out.
We have tried to develop a report that will be useful not as a final plan, but as a place to begin, a foundation on which to build. The government and the people of the United States must develop a rational and workable plan before the already launched international atomic armament race attains such momentum that it cannot be stopped.
What armament race? Who's racing with us?
Every major power on Earth is already working on atomic energy.
I found out other nations are working on atomic energy.
The enemy has interfered with our peaceful work, but we shall catch up. We, too, shall have atomic energy and many other things.
That's what the Russians said, word for word.
The British government has decided to set up a research and experimental establishment covering all aspects of the use of atomic energy.
That's what the British said, word for word.
Atomic energy production in France within 2 years is now a possibility. At the head of the French Atomic Commission is a famous atomic scientist, Frédéric Joliot-Curie. And assisting him are Pierre Auger and Francis Perrin, both of whom worked with the United States and Canada on the atomic bomb.
So you see, the atomic armament race is already on.
But those other nations are not talking about giving us any information, are they?
I read carefully the State Department report.
It is our conviction that a satisfactory plan can be developed, and that what we recommend can form the foundation of such a plan. The plan contemplates an international agency conducting all intrinsically dangerous operations.
The making of atomic explosives, such as uranium-235 and plutonium, which can be put into bombs.
With individual nations and their citizens free to conduct, under license, all safe operations.
That must mean individual nations can develop atomic energy for peacetime uses.
An international agency might take any one of several forms, such as a United Nations Commission or an international corporation or authority.
An international authority, beyond the control of any one nation, for the control of atomic energy. 100 questions sprang into my mind.
Such an international agency must have authority to own and lease property, to carry on mining, manufacturing, research, licensing, inspecting, selling, or any other necessary operations.
I tried to think what that would mean. An international body made up of representatives of many nations, having control of atomic energy in the United States, as well as in Germany, England, France, Russia, Japan, and in all the other nations. An international body that would actually buy or lease property in the United States so that certain parts of the United States would not be under the control of the United States, but under the control of an international authority.
We'll be giving up part of our sovereignty.
We have our choice, working out some kind of control with other nations, or having every nation develop atomic bombs as weapons.
I went back to the report.
The United States now has a monopoly on atomic bombs and production facilities. But whether or not we embark on a system of international control, we cannot maintain that monopoly. Other nations can, in time, equal or perhaps surpass us.
Suppose they do get atomic bombs. Other nations have got airplanes and battleships the same as we have, haven't they?
But with atomic bombs, a smaller nation could destroy a larger nation.
With our power to strike back, no nation is ever going to attack the United States.
Japan attacked us. Germany went to war against us. The thing to remember is this. Fear of reprisals never stopped the war.
You think an international authority can stop war?
I went back to the report.
If an international agency is given responsibility for the dangerous activities,
The making of atomic explosives,
and nations and their citizens are given the right to develop safe activities,
peacetime uses,
and if the international authority is given and carries forward affirmative development responsibility, furthering the beneficial uses of atomic energy, and at the same time making sure that nobody makes atomic bombs or produces and stores atomic explosives that could be put into bombs, then there is good prospect of security.
prospect of security. I turned it over in my mind. What these 5 distinguished practical Americans said meant that there was no prospect of complete security in the new atomic world. Certainly not for a single nation, be it as powerful as the United States. But there was a promise of security for all nations together, united in a common effort.
By not recognizing this, you might have a carefree life for a while, but you will have it at the sacrifice of the lives of your children and your grandchildren.
What are you trying to do, scare us? Let's get down and talk about the things that really matter.
Look, the most important matter today is what are we going to do about atomic energy? What else matters besides?
I ask myself, if we don't settle the matter of atomic energy, what difference does it make if we solve every other problem, domestic or foreign? Well, when the United Nations Atomic Energy Commission convened, I listened. This is what Barney Baruch said. Quote,
My fellow members of the United Nations Atomic Energy Commission and my fellow citizens of the world, we are here to make a choice between the quick and the dead.
the quick and the dead. That's the way he started.
Behind the black portent of the new atomic age lies a hope which, seized upon with faith, can work our salvation. If we fail, then we have damned every man to be the slave of fear. Let us not deceive ourselves. We must elect world peace or world destruction.
What did I tell you?
Quiet. Science has torn from nature a secret so vast in its potentialities that our minds cower from the terror it creates. The terror created by weapons has never stopped man from employing them. For each new weapon, a defense has been produced in time. But now we face the condition in which adequate defense does not exist.
I thought of our way of life. The right to come and go pretty much as you please. The right to say what you think. The right to advance as far as your talents and capacity permit. I thought of what we have as compared with a lot of other people's. Good houses, automobiles, refrigerators, radios. And then I tried to think of what it would be like with all these things destroyed.
There's no water, not even enough for drinking. There are no electric lights, no telephones, no telegraphs, no streetcars, no trains. No automobiles are running, no trucks, no buses, for there is no gasoline, no oil. There's no food. The stores are empty. There is no transportation to get such supplies as still exist. So there's starvation. There's disease. And since there's no medicine, there's no way...
I listened to Barney Baruch's report.
Only by lasting peace are liberties and democracy strengthened and deepened. War is their enemy, and it will not do to believe that any of us can escape war's devastation. Victor and vanquished and neutrals alike will suffer.
Well, I don't see how he figures. If we've got more bombs and bigger bombs than the other countries...
Having more bombs or bigger bombs can't prevent atomic rockets from blasting our cities and our industrial centers.
So how is this going to stop them?
The United States proposes the creation of an International Atomic Development Authority to which should be entrusted the development and control of atomic energy.
I listened to the recommendation.
The International Authority must own or manage all atomic energy activities potentially dangerous to peace.
The making of bombs.
It must have the power to control, inspect, and license all other atomic activities to make sure that they are used only for the declared peaceful purposes.
Beneficial uses.
When an adequate system for control of atomic energy has been agreed upon, we propose that, first, manufacture of atomic bombs shall stop. Second, existing bombs shall be disposed of. Third, the authorities shall be in possession of full information as to the know-how for the production of atomic knowledge.
Uh-huh. But how is an international authority going to keep other countries from making bombs?
With its control and inspection powers, the authority will be able to know and report to the world any attempt to make them. There will be no way of making them secretly.
One other point in this report of Barney Baruch of the United Nations Atomic Energy Commission. Under the United Nations Charter, a nation can be penalized only by concurrence of each of the Big Five. If one of the Big Five exercises its veto, the nation cannot be penalized.
There must be no veto to protect those who violate their solemn agreement not to develop or use atomic energy for destructive purposes.
Several things have happened in the 2 months since those recommendations were made by the Atomic Energy Commission.
The explosion of the atomic bomb in the test able at Bikini on July 1st sank 2 transports, 2 destroyers, and 1 Japanese cruiser. It damaged 30 of the 73 vessels in the test. Most animals on the ship survived the blast, but died from the bomb radiation.
And 3 weeks later...
The explosion of the underwater atomic bomb in the test Baker at Bikini sank the 21,600-ton battleship Arkansas, the 33,000-ton carrier Saratoga, the Japanese battleship Nagato, and 3 smaller vessels. It heavily damaged a battleship, a transport, and a destroyer. The radioactivity left after the explosion was so terrific that many ships could not be boarded for weeks.
In case you've forgotten what happens when an atomic bomb goes off.
It was nowhere near as bad as some said it was going to be. No complete destruction of the fleet, no tidal wave.
Never before has one bomb done so much damage to a fleet. And we can only guess what the effects of radioactivity would have been on the crews. But what an atomic bomb does to ships is one thing. What they do to cities is another. Remember Hiroshima?
Everything within a circle of 4 miles in diameter was devastated. All buildings in the area were shattered or destroyed by fire, and the people injured or killed by the explosion.
Only one atomic bomb hit Hiroshima. If war ever comes, hundreds of bombs will hit our city.
One other thing happened in these last few weeks.
President Truman has signed the Atomic Control Bill, vesting in a civilian authority almost complete authority over the development of atomic energy within the United States.
So we've settled the matter of atomic control within the United States in a manner consistent with our traditions. The matter of international control is still unsettled. Are the seconds ticking off as they did before the explosion of the bombs at Bikini? Are they ticking right now, this moment, all over the world? Scientists of other nations are already talking about their atomic bombs.
Forget it. The whole thing's overrated.
Well, I'm beginning to think the best thing to do is move out of the city, out into the wilderness, as far as I can go.
Who's going to start anything with us?
Are the seconds ticking off? I hope the people of the world and their statesmen are asking the same question. I'm wondering what I can do. I, one man. All we love is still here, intact. It could be destroyed in an hour. What can I do? This is the question I've asked myself 100 times. And this is the answer I found. I've got to inform myself in every way of what atomic energy means and what it can do for us and to us. And on the basis of this information, I must act. If enough of us press for a worldwide solution, the threat of atomic war can be averted. But what happens to us and to people everywhere is in our own hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard Charles Bickford, starring in the 8th and last program in NBC's series, The Fifth Horseman, written and directed by Arnold Marquis. Charles Bickford is soon to be co-starred with Joan Bennett in an RKO picture titled The Woman on the Beach. The music for The Fifth Horseman was composed and conducted by Thomas Peluso. The Fifth Horseman came to you from Hollywood. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.